All right, so today we have a clip here of a Fox News host fact-checking his other Fox News hosts in real time. It does not go well for him. Here it is. Oh,
So
there we
I
go.
think there's a lot to fight here. And in the back of my mind in watching all this is we could be doing this 3 more times. We could be doing it with the January 6th.
Hopefully.
We could be doing it with the Georgia situation.
Yep.
And we could do it with Mar-a-Lago.
Let's go.
Which is heating up like you wouldn't believe. They are now making Secret Service testify. They make his own attorney, Corcoran. He has to testify his own client.
Well,
what is it? Jack Smith is somehow rocket fueled to get Trump in a way that I can't believe people aren't challenging this and saying, even if I don't like Donald Trump, what's going on here?
Because of the crime, we've talked about this, the crime fraud exemption. If you get legal advice during the execution of a crime,
but it almost never happens.
So Steve Ducey is explaining here the crime fraud exception to Brian Kilmeade and Ainsley Earnhardt. I can't even remember her name, honestly. The crime fraud exception is actually, it's a really simple thing to understand. This is honestly the best thing I found to briefly explain it. The crime fraud exception is it basically means that attorney-client privilege doesn't protect you if you are using your attorney-client privilege to commit a crime or further commit other crimes, okay? And Brian Kilmeade says, well, it never really happens. That's not true. It does happen a lot. It's happened in the Enron scandal. I don't know how many people are familiar with this. This was a huge big fraud scheme that this energy company in Texas was pulling a long time ago. And they were basically lying to their shareholders and making it seem like they were doing way better than they were financially, lying to their shareholders. And it's basically fraud. Fraud happens a lot more than a lot of people think, at least in my opinion. And this is, in this case, and this is a huge scandal. There's so much stuff I could talk about, but I'm not going to talk about this today. This scandal is a time where the crime fraud exception was used because executives from Enron were telling and using their attorney-client privilege to further commit their fraud that they were committing. And then another example that's I think a better example is the Bernie Madoff scandal. Where Bernie Madoff again with this huge Ponzi scheme, just defrauded so many different people. This was another example where the crime fraud exception was used in this scandal. If you guys can go and look this up for yourselves, but these are just 2 examples that I'm using, 2 actually really big profile cases where this was used. There's not really a way, okay, to gauge how much this crime fraud exception is used. Okay, court cases aren't there's not a ton of statistical information for stuff like that when it comes to court cases. There's not a ton of media attention around every single court case that happens, especially in something like a financial sector or wherever you would be committing fraud. But Brian Kilmeade saying that it's hardly ever used is bullshit.
It happens more than you would believe.
Talk to Mark Levin about that.
Your attorney-client privilege goes out the window. Regarding the Secret Service...
How many times has it happened? It's nuts. You have an attorney and Secret Service and you flip them?
See, and they're literally... I mean, I don't even know what this is. They're sitting over here saying, she says, it's ludicrous, it's crazy. And he's saying, well, it's just not fair. And even Ducey or whatever the fuck his name is, knows... Even he knows that, this is it's just part of the law. That's all it is. It's just part of the law, and they're holding Trump accountable by the law, and I guess that they just don't like that.
Exemption. If you get legal advice during the execution of a crime,
but it almost never happens.
Almost never happens.
It happens more than you would believe.
Talk to Mark Levin about that.
Your attorney-client privilege goes out the window. Regarding the Secret Service...
How many times has it happened? It's nuts.
How does it seem ludicrous? Why? Why is it ludicrous to her? How is that ludicrous? If you are using your attorney-client privilege to commit a crime, then you lose that attorney client privilege. I don't understand how that's ludicrous. If you think that there's something wrong with that, I mean, I don't know. Like, what are you doing? Like, right? It's just weird because they're literally talking about it in the context of somebody possibly committing a crime, possibly like fraud, and she's saying, well, that's crazy. Why would you get held accountable for crime that you committed? Like, why would that be a thing, right? Oh, on Fox
you have
News.
an attorney and Secret Service, and you flip them?
I am just talking about what is the law. That is the law. And
Rarely used.
That is
so-
But rarely used. I mean, again, there's no way for anybody to gauge that at all. That's something that you really can't even back up with facts, but it is used. I named just 2 examples, and those were not the only 2 examples where it was used, where the client, crime fraud exception was used. Okay, so Brian Kilmeade saying it's hardly ever used. No, he's just salty. He's just trying to win over political brownie points with his viewers. You know, he doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about in this context. And I mean, again, I'm surprised saying this, but Steve Doocy, he's 100% right about what he's saying here because he's just actually stating the law.
it was used in this case.
No
the other
kidding.
thing is, I feel like it's open to mic night. I'm getting heckled over here.
No, I'm not heckling you. I'm just saying it's so ludicrous that you
No,
can tell
I'm
your
just saying-
attorney your secret.
You can tell your attorney your secrets. Yeah, you can tell your attorney you're gonna fucking commit fraud. Literally, just do shit that's illegal, and you lose that attorney-client privilege when you try to do something illegal. Ludicrous, insane. Is it not crazy, guys? Let me know if you think it's ludicrous that you lose your attorney-client privilege when you're telling your lawyer about a crime you are going to attempt or in the middle of attempting. But that's gonna be it for the video. If you guys like the video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, press the little bell, turn on notifications so you guys don't miss an upload.